Welcome back, everyone. Same lab, same exact lab, but now I'm going to contradict myself. I said earlier that standard access lists are not beneficial to a certain extent because they're not that flexible. You can only use source addresses. But we're going to configure a standard access list to permit or deny traffic. Yes, we are. So let's get inside the lab and let's see how this works. Welcome back inside the lab. Here we are again. It looks the same to me, doesn't it? But this time we're going to do something slightly different. As I already told you what we're going to do. We're going to do a standard access list, but this time we're going to use it to block or to deny or permit Telnet. At last, you said that was impossible unless you apply it somewhere else. Each one of these particular routers is configured where you can go ahead and access it through Telnet. Let's see if that's the case. We're going to go ahead and Telnet. And it's case sensitive in the command prompt. Telnet 192.168.100.254. And it's Cisco. And we're in. Enable Cisco CISCO. And we're in. No big deal, right? Exit. And we're going to check in each and every one. We want to make sure that we have access to Telnet. All right, Telnet 192.168.101.254. Cisco. Enable Cisco. And we're in the router. Let's exit. Not there. Okay, and then come here. Telnet 192.168.102.254. Cisco, EN, Cisco, and we're in. Exit. All right, and you can go to any router, really. I can Telnet into any router because there is no username and password or anything like that. So what we're going to do, let's pick on the middle router. We're going to permit only its own subnet to Telnet into this router, but deny everybody else. We see using a standard access list, which I said we couldn't because we can only use source addresses. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to permit or deny Telnet access, or we're going to permit Telnet access to this network, but we're going to deny these two access to Telnet into that router. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Oh, Cisco, CISCO, enable, CISCO. All right, so config T, same thing, but this time we put a permit. Access, list, let's say 2, permit the 192.168.101.0000255. So now I am permitting this particular network. I'm not going to put any other permit statement because then that wouldn't make any sense. So I'm going to let the implicit deny, the invisible deny, take care of everybody else. So where am I going to apply this? Well, I'm telnetting. So line VTY 0 space 15. I'm going to do access class. What number did I give it? 2. And then it's in, right? Because access class is the actual command instead of IP access group. It's access class. And then the number 2 is the access list number. And then in which direction? Well, we're trying to telnet in to the router. So we're going to deny any telnet connections. I'm going to hit enter. The WR. And again, we do a show access list. And we can see it. But you can see show IP, let's say, interface F00, that we haven't, let's maximize, that we haven't put anything there. And it's going to show the same thing on the other interfaces. So let's test out first this PC. This is the one that I'm permitting. I'm actually permitting. So I'm going to up arrow, Telnet. It lets me in, Cisco, CISCO, EN, CISCO. Lets me in. Okay, let's exit. So I can go ahead and Telnet from my own subnet. This is the one that I'm permitting. But can I do it from this subnet? I'm going to Telnet into the 101.254. Connection refused by remote host. Interesting. Let's go to this one. Up arrow, 101.254. Connection refused. Now, you're probably saying, you doubters, oh, you probably can't do that anyway. No, the access list is working, because if I wanted to, I can Telnet into the 100.254 and I'm in. There's no access list there. So I'm in router 1. So we have no username and password, so you can just go back and forth. Plain text, nothing. I mean, there's no passwords whatsoever. But that access list that we created, the difference was, instead of starting with a deny and then putting a permit any, we started with a permit only this particular network. And then we let the implicit, the invisible, the known, existing, deny everything to take care of the denying of everybody else. And then how we applied it. We didn't apply it to an actual interface. We applied it to the Telnet lines themselves. All Telnet lines that exist on that router. So nobody else can Telnet into that particular router, but the one I permitted, which was that particular subnet. See you outside the lab. Okay then. You saw that, right? We created a normal standard access list, which just states permit this time, access list, whatever, 1, permit this network or this host. And that's it. But where we applied it made the difference. We applied it to the Telnet lines, IP access class, the number of the access list, and then the direction, which is in, because we're going into the router because we're trying to Telnet into the router. And you saw that it worked perfectly. So you could use standard access list for certain things like this if you wanted to. So you don't have to waste a line when creating an extended access list just to block Telnet, when you can do it right there on the lines. Because remember, creating access lists doesn't mean anything, but they're still there on your router. So the more you have, the more space you're taking up on your NVMe RAM. Okay? Well, with that said, you saw how that standard access list worked, and it was the applying of the access list that made the difference using the IP access class command. I'll see you in the next one.